Um, but why? And so again, I've been trying to think about it deeper. Like, why do we think like that? Both sides. And I think it just comes down to the media. And it's really scary and sad because, like for instance, this week, right now, I'm picking an issue, but when Google and YouTube just came out and admitted under oath that yes, they were pressured by the Biden administration to censor, remove content that they didn't like. That would be, if you looked up the definition of fascism, Tim, that would be something that would be right there. Government pressuring private enterprise to do something that they want them to do or not want them to do. But when you Google YouTube or Google or news of the week, I did it this morning. It doesn't pop up. There's a few stories here and there, but they're not reporting on it. But then when Jimmy Kimmel gets, suspended for a few days, they're running around saying this is the worst thing they've ever seen. Democracy is in peril. And now with Comey getting indicted, they're like, Trump's wielding the power of a dictator to go after his opponents. And I'm like, did you all forget that all of the indictments and Trump was put in jail, a prisons, the mugshot, and like, just give me a break. But that's the media, right? So the media just, I don't know how to say it nicely. People today have the ability to be a lot smarter than they ever have been due to the technology that we have. But I think that a lot of people today, I'd say the majority, don't utilize it for anything of learning or being smart. They're just scrolling Instagram all day. They're scrolling YouTube all day. They're scrolling TikTok, whatever, watching Netflix and just consuming everything. So they don't critically think. And so when you see, like, I go to the gym every morning, right? And you see the headlines on the news on CNN, and it'll just say, Trump this or Trump that, or, false allegations from Bobby Kennedy, misleading claims, all they just run these headlines, and people, if you don't actually really pay attention or understand, they just take that all day long. So why, it goes back to the question of why would Charles say something like that we think they're stupid and they think we're evil? Well, that just comes down to the media. And you look at who owns the media, right? I mean, we're talking about Larry Ellison, you're talking about Jeff Bezos, you're talking, they own all these outlets. Now then you have Fox News is more right leaning, of course, the Murdoch family, but they're one of the few. There's a lot less of them. And so when you control the narrative, you control the communication, you control this in the schools, that message, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. If you're constantly saying things just because they disagree with you, they're evil, they're racist, they're homophobic, they hate you. Well, I'm none of those things. I don't hate anybody for their skin color. I mean, that's the dumbest thing ever. Because you have different melanoma or melanin in your skin, that you would be any different than me. It's such an old, ridiculous argument. And I think, and I was telling my son Jaden, when I was growing up, I don't ever remember the you're black, you're white. Like, I know that it happened obviously in history, but when in the 90s, when I was growing up in the early 2000s, I don't ever remember anybody talking about that. It was like it was almost gone. And then you had Obama come, and Obama had to play the race card. Well, they didn't vote for me because I'm black. No, I didn't. We didn't vote for you because we didn't like your policies. I would love to see Tim Scott from South Carolina. He would be amazing. Condoleezza Rice, loved her, big Browns fan too. It had nothing to do with your skin color, but when the media is constantly just pushing these headlines, and you can just look at them constantly, that we're these horrible people, it's no wonder that they think that we're evil. And then what are they going to do? What are you going to do when you think someone or something's evil? You want to get rid of it. So then
Right.
it comes down to Charlie Kirk.
Right.